whether it's helping them, there's like scholarship opportunities. For example, for Latina Americans, there are actually organizations that can help people to be able to either get to a point where they're financially stable enough or provide them with the funding that they need.
Yo, this is the Streetwise podcast. We're here to help you level up your game, level up your leadership, and level up your life. I'm your host, Matthew McReynolds. I'm a multi-brand franchisee, and I'm a franchise consultant, which means I help people find, launch, and build their ideal franchise business. Our main goal is to help you get off of zero and become the person that your dreams need you to be. Buckle up, get your popcorn ready. Let's go. All right, Streetwise Nation, welcome. Today we got Rita Iglesias with us today. How are you? Good afternoon.
I'm well. I know. Good afternoon to you too. I'm well, thank you. It's a beautiful day in Florida.
Yeah. Man, it's a beautiful day in Texas too. We gotta take them before it gets too hot. So you're with Buzz Franchise Brands.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, what's your role and how does that affect your day to day? We'll start there.
Sure. So I am part of the franchise development team. I am a director of franchise development. I work alongside a group of great folks that are wanting to just help people realize their entrepreneur dreams. So we have a couple of different brands under our umbrella, British Swim School, Pool Scouts, Home Clean Heroes, and Wonderly. So they're all service-based, mission-based as well. So we're, we have a little bit of everything for everybody. And in some cases, some franchise owners that have a little bit of all of it under their own umbrella. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice. So I've heard of franchise concepts that stay away from having their franchisees be owners of multiple brands. Is that not the case with Buzz?
No, not at all. We've got a couple of franchise owners that own British Swim School and a Pool Scouts and Wonderly. For us, it can be a little extra fun because, frankly speaking, now those owners are part of all of the family. They work with all of the different brands that we have. They're building up their own little empires, and we get to be part of that. So that's really something fun. It's an accomplishment, if anything. So no, we love to see it. I mean, and frankly speaking, some of our brands really do go well with each other. I mean, Home Clean Heroes, for example, it's a residential cleaning concept. So you're working within the home. And then you have Pool Scouts, which is, poolside maintenance and repairs. So now we're outside of the home. So you've got two trustworthy, businesses under one person. Why not? And then in the similar situation for our Wonderly outdoor festive and holiday lighting, when the time comes, you have that, same, sometimes across trained team working on your household. And then British Swim School, we have obviously a drowning prevention and water safety awareness. Well, that water safety awareness also translates really well with Pool Scouts because, again, now we're working outside helping you keep your pool clean. So let us teach you and your family how to remain safe in that water, and then let us also clean it and maintain it for you. So they work really well in correlation. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Yeah, I love the idea. I mean, my startup in franchising was Mosquito Joe Franchise, which used to be a part of Buzz before going over to Neighborly. But as a seasonal business, as a franchise owner, I often found myself, what am I going to do in the winter when it's the off season? And having something like a Wonderly, like a Christmas-like concept, we built it from scratch. This was pre-Wonderly, and so we had to build it and figure out a lot of those systems. So yeah, having the package add-on franchise is something I'm really interested in myself. So I guess before we get too deep into the weeds there, explain to me how you got into franchise development. How long have you been with Buzz?
So I have been with Buzz for almost 2 years, and
Nice.
I have been in the world of franchising for about 14 years now.
Wow.
So I initially started off in hospitality, and that was my journey. I was loving it. I worked for a South African hotel company, and I who's upset about having a role that allows you to go to South Africa, and
Yeah.
explore and see amazing places like that? Not too many people. So I absolutely loved what I did, but changes come, and recession was occurring, and I was also going through a life transition, and it just it segued into, I need to now look for something else. And obviously, with a lot of the difficulties that were taking place in hospitality during that time, I didn't want to continue looking into a field that was struggling. I mean, it was shortly after the recession. And so I linked up with a recruiter who said, you have marketing experience, you have sales experience. I know someone looking, they're in franchising. They don't mind if you don't know anything about franchising. They're willing to educate you on the legalities of it if you're willing to learn. And I said, you know what? I don't know enough about franchising, but I'd love to. I grew up with parents that were lifelong hopeful entrepreneurs. And once I got into the world of franchising, I started off with a food-based company that was a bit of like a distribution style franchise. Once I started learning what else was out there, I was actually a little heartbroken for my parents. They'd given up by this point on all their hopes. But I just thought, man, if they'd only known what was actually out there, what was available. It wasn't just McDonald's. It wasn't just Pizza Hut. I mean, those were the major brands, during my youth or as I was growing up. If they had known that there were businesses like that, a distribution concept or something else, they could have flourished, because unfortunately they had all the gumption, just not the knowledge. They had an antique vintage shop in New Jersey. They were robbed, and they didn't have the right insurance in place. So they didn't really get what they should have from it. At another point, they owned a catering business. That business also, they had difficulty with marketing. They didn't know how to get enough business or people to work for them. And so little things like that, just little by little, obviously, how much can you put into something and you're not getting anything out of it? So they eventually just succumbed to the 9 to 5, work until both of my parents worked until they were in their 70s. And so for me, it's like, man, if they had only known, who knows what could have come of that. And that's really stuck with me as I work with people now in this. And I've had really great opportunities of being able to work in different industries within franchising, food-based businesses, service-based businesses, and in the education, in the mission base. I mean, there's so many different realms that I've been able to kind of dip my toes into. But I will say, for me, the most fun has been service. It's got longevity. It's not a fad. It's not something that is here today, gone tomorrow. So I feel much more comfortable and frankly sleep better at night when I know that I'm helping somebody with something that has promise. Because I worked for frozen yogurt concept, and it was wonderful during the time, but now I look back and I'm like, man, there's not a lot of those open anymore. And in hindsight, you're like, I hope somebody I work with didn't find themselves on the bad side of that. And I just don't want, I don't want that feeling. I want to know, hey, no, there's long-term recurring revenue possibilities. So that's kind of how I've ended up here, working under Buzz, which frankly speaking I've worked, again, I've been in franchising for quite some time. This is probably the most comfortable I have felt. And it has to do with a lot of things. And certainly to my point of what I'm representing or what I'm working towards, but also the organization that I'm with, the culture that we have and the way they make us fit.
Oh, I love that. And I definitely want to dive into your story in a little bit. What is it though that Buzz does differently? Because I'm biased, but I love Buzz franchise brands. Again, it's how I came up. But I was a franchisee, and so I have a very particular perspective. I didn't get to see, kind of behind the curtain and what was, going on and building that side of the team. And so I think you came on after I had already, Mosquito Joe had already moved over to Neighborly. But what does the
Mhm.
Buzz internal setup look like today?
Well, frankly speaking, it's one of the things that I have appreciated the most about my experience is I can be, as a true Latina, Caribbean Latina, I can be, loud and a bit boisterous. And I have I can have a personality that isn't for everybody. And
Sure.
so, of course, I put my professional hat and I acquiesce to who I'm talking to and what my client needs from me,
Yeah.
at any given point. But I want to be able to be myself and, be able to engage well with the people that I work alongside. And I haven't always felt that. I have been in some environments where CEO is off in a corner and, some people in the offices have ties that are really tight and, they're very, very focused on, well, we're just here to do a job and move along. From the very first interview process that I had with Buzz, they gave you an opportunity to get to know everybody in the office. It was like speed dating during my interview process. But I loved that because I got to see what the culture was like and really engage with a lot of people. But furthermore, I'm not, hey, you're in Fran Dev and that's that. You stick to your corner and have engagement with everybody. I collaborate with marketing. I collaborate with, our billing and operations teams. I get to feel like I'm more than just part of one process. I get to feel like I'm part of all of it. And it really it makes you feel good to the point where I live in Orlando, Florida. Our office is in Virginia Beach.
Oh
And
yeah.
when I'm actually excited and I'm like messaging with people like, oh, I'll be there for such and such. And, and that's not normally the case. Normally people are like, if I'm remote, I want to just be remote. I don't want to engage with people. I don't want to have to
Sure.
see you guys. I love it. We're going to conferences. I'm excited, not just because I get to, see people like you, but I get to be around my team, not just through the screen, but in person. And so that makes a huge difference for me, my cultural experience, but also just overall how I feel about the organization that I'm representing.
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
Fran
That's
Dev, you
super
are part
important.
of that.
It's super
Absolutely.
important. In franchising, you have such a responsibility to, I mean,
Yeah.
in what you do and what I do, we have an opportunity to impact somebody's life in such a powerful
Mm-hmm.
way. And that could be extremely positive or extremely negative. And there's not necessarily a lot in the middle when it comes to investing in a
Yeah.
franchise. So it's such a huge responsibility to be a part of an organization that you can truly like trust the integrity of is extremely important as
Oh, 100%.
as you've leveled as you've leveled up and as you've kind of
Mm-hmm.
moved from organization and gotten experience within the Frandev space, what has been some unexpected learnings, unexpected consequences in how you've grown as a person based on your experience, whether that's through failures or like shocking experiences?
Oh, you know what? That's such a great question. I think, well, as a person, as you can tell, this isn't a backdrop. This is real. I love to read. I believe that literature is lifelong education. That's ways of being able to continue growing. Whether you're reading something that's fiction, but it lets you walk in the shoes of another person for a period of time and helps you get a perspective and in some ways empathy, for other
Yeah.
people's positions in life. Also the education of reading books on personal development, religions, insight into just growth overall, business as well. I think there's been times where I've either had a discussion with somebody and they've talked about something personal, whether it was, I've had unfortunately really bad experiences in my career and that's why I'm looking to work for myself because working for someone else has gotten me laid off 3 times, struggling with my family and in a really bad
Mm.
position. Or, you meet with somebody that for religious purposes, as a woman, maybe they won't constantly reading and trying to learn and educate myself. I feel that it gives me an opportunity to be able to really understand and focus on the other person's needs, not my own. So I don't get offended when I learn, okay, you don't want to talk to me because I'm a woman, or you won't shake my hands, or things like that, has nothing, is not about me. It's not an offense I should take. It's something from your culture. Or you've been through this struggle with your jobs. Okay, I've read really good books that are in relation to kind of this transition in life. I feel like I'm a little more equipped now on being able to handle this kind of conversation and be a little more sensitive to your needs. Because I think something that is unfortunately can be misconstrued about franchise development and my role is people think, oh gosh, you're going to be salesy and you're going to be, like,
Sure.
what is it going
Yeah.
to take to get you to buy a franchise today? That kind of thing. And I tell people all the
Yeah.
time, I'm like, no, it's a discovery process, not a discovery day. It's, multiple steps we're going to take. It's reaching the point of you being comfortable enough to get to one of two decisions. And I always tell them, I'm like, it's either going to be, Rita, you've been great, or Rita, you've been great. So, there we go. It's taken time for me to really get to the point of understanding, like, it's not about me. It doesn't matter. I did my job. It wasn't a personal, it wasn't, Rita, we don't like you, or Rita, you didn't do enough. It's their journey, not mine. And that's a lot of that has had to do, I think, with, again, just reading up, educating myself, really just the experience overall too. Like 14 years, you learn a lot. You learn a lot.
Yeah, I bet. And I so resonate with what you said about reading and just filling your mind with just more information that's outside of yourself. When I was working in the inner city, I realized, and I've told this story before, but I realized that if I wasn't filling my cup and filling my mind and filling my spirit with positive things that was just filling myself back up, I had nothing to give to my students. And I often found myself so empty. And in the same way, I mean, we're on two different sides of it, me as a consultant, but you as in franchise development, but we're both working alongside the candidate to help them to make the right choice. But if we aren't filling ourselves up, then we can't truthfully and with integrity guide these candidates to make good choices that'll affect them for the rest of their lives. So
100%.
I like that. And it was interesting too, because I used to be like a big fiction. No, I used to be more of a nonfiction guy.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't read anything fiction. I wouldn't read novels, but my wife, she recently got me on the Nightingale and a couple others. And I've completely flipped the script. I've completely flipped the script. I mean, I reread The Alchemist recently, and
oh my gosh, I've been telling so many people. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So where are you at? Like, are you more of a fiction person, nonfiction? You dabble with both? Like, what kind of books you like?
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, like I said, it's, this isn't just for show. This is all one, like I've got it lined up here. So this is my entire office is, I joke and I call it the library.
Love it.
Just to, to be a little pretentious about it, but I'm all over the place. I'm constantly reading 2 books at one time, and it's typically a growth, self-help, or again, educational, something that's going to help me learn about a thing, and then something in fiction to be a little more lighthearted. For me, reading is a way to quiet down my mind. I just like you, I spend all day talking and listening to people and presenting and engaging. Everything shuts down when I'm reading, and I just kind of get to go somewhere else. So I'm all over the place. Right now I'm actually reading The Women, which is by Kristen Hanna, the author of The Nightingale. So I've got that on one hand. Is she? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. It's so
big
far
Kristen
so good.
Hanna fan. Yeah.
Huge. Well, The Nightingale is one of my top 5 fiction novels that I absolutely love. And for me, it's because of how it made me feel. I mean, I had it's called a book hangover. I had a book hangover for days. I couldn't stop thinking about the book after I finished it. And in fact, when I read it, I was in Italy for a couple of months.
No way.
And so that tells you everything you need to know, that while I'm in another country, I was just walking around everywhere with this book, just had to devour it. So I'm reading that, and then my husband, actually, this is I happen to have it here. My husband just got me onto The Good Life, And so he said it
Okay.
was really good. It's a book about, the scientific study of finding happiness, where it comes from and how you're going to get it. So I've just started that one, but I just finished one called Necessary Endings. And
Okay.
so much so that I'm like, I need to go on LinkedIn and like tell everybody about it. For what
Come
we do,
on.
especially, it's
Yeah, light
so
us up.
great.
Let's go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because we work with people who are sometimes really fearful. I know that I need to
All
make
the
a
time.
change. I
Yeah.
know that this job is just draining me. It's no good. I'm not going to get anywhere, but I'm so scared of it. That book explores understanding that you have to sometimes end things. It could be a relationship gone wrong, a business, endeavor, looking for a new job, or as a business owner, letting go of that employee that's not doing well for you, that is not,
Ooh, yeah.
it explores all of those things. Actually, one of my favorite analogies of it is pruning. It's like a rose, bush. You have to prune the dead flowers or the ones that aren't growing well so that all the nourishment can go to the flowers that have opportunity and possibilities. So it's the same thing in life. I know. I was like reading it
Wait,
like
what's the name of this book again? I'm writing this down. Hit me with the name one more time.
Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud.
Dr.
So I
Henry
do.
Cloud. I love
Yep.
Dr. Henry Cloud. Let's
Yep.
go.
So I highly
Man.
Yo, thanks for listening this far. It's at this point in the episode that I want to talk about Streetwise franchising, teaching, training, building. Streetwise franchising. As a franchise consultant, it's my job, it's my absolute pleasure, and it's my mission to help aspiring entrepreneurs find, launch, and build their ideal business. I've been a franchise owner for almost a decade. I know what it means to struggle. I know what it means to build a team. If you're ready to get off of zero, if you're ready to build something for yourself, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's get the conversation started. Don't wait until tomorrow to build your future. It starts today. Streetwise Franchising. Stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Let's get back to the episode.
So I do something weird. When I'm reading, I take the covers off so that I don't ruin it. So I don't have the book with me, but I've got the cover sitting right here. So there you go. Highly recommend. Highly
I actually
recommend
do
it.
that. I don't take those covers off, but I think I should because I get so annoyed when they get all messed up when I throw them around in my backpack and stuff. So, okay.
Yeah, I always take it off.
Okay.
I always take it off. I'm always like, oh, you're just going to be flopping around. And if it rips,
Man.
I'm going to be so upset. So I wander around with the book naked. You know what I mean? But
There
those
it
are the things
is.
that I like
Yeah.
reading.
Sometimes you
That's what
got it.
and again, it helps you. You got to refresh yourself. All the times change and so do people and so should we. So that's why I love reading and literature overall.
Oh, that speaks into balance too.
Mm-hmm.
Before I opened myself up to actually getting into novels and more fiction, I found myself so drained because all I was doing was filling my mind with super useful information. I mean, I would just download all these books in my head when I was on a
Yeah.
run, on a drive, walking around, doing my day-to-day work. I'm always listening to audiobooks. But man, it was so draining. But something about fiction to take you out of your own
Yeah.
world, and it just changes your perspective in a way that as you're walking around your day to day, you can draw from another person's walk of life in a way that's so intimate that you can't out of a nonfiction or a
100%.
self-help or development book. And it's funny with the Nightingale, I actually started it a few years ago. Big Snowmageddon, they call it in Texas.
Oh, I
And
remember that.
it was like
Yeah.
2 degrees, negative 5 degrees. The power was out for a long time. And my wife was out of town and I'm at the house. She's in Detroit and she's stuck there. And I'm at the house with the kids and I'm like, this is too real. This family separation stuff. I can't read this book right now. I put it down.
So
I picked it
funny.
back up recently and oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back on track. This has been a lot of fun so far. What have you
Matthew, you
seen?
can't get me talking about books because I will be here all day.
Oh, come on. See, me too. Me too. Let me focus. For I feel like I'm gonna have the teacher's gonna get me in trouble behind me, even though we're here by myself. What?
Yeah.
So you've been franchising for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been any like specific or any like significant changes that you've seen in the industry since, other than like trends and certain brands coming up and down, and maybe you can speak into that, but if something else pop into your mind, that's great too. But yeah, just overall changes in the industry.
100%, I will say, the diversity that,
Yeah.
that's expanded. Now more than ever, you see an incredible diversity in every realm within the franchisor side of it all and within the franchisee side of it all. And, kind of circling back to my parents, I think that was one of the things that also for them, they were like, no one's coming to us, no one's approaching us. No one's going to give us this opportunity. And that is so far from the truth now more than ever. I think there's probably a period of time when I first started in franchising that I did see preconceptions about certain people's backgrounds or financial abilities. Are they going to be able to afford this? Are they going to get financing? And sometimes it wasn't all the franchisor side. It was really just financial institutions also not really giving people the opportunities. And so it was like, well, the franchisor was bound to, say, I can't really do much then. This isn't a payment plan. You have to be able to afford it. You have to know you're going to be, successful in this. So I think that is one of the things that I have really seen a massive change, that's not the case. Nobody even thinks about that anymore. At least not, not Buzz, certainly, but no one I've been a part of, in recent times. So I've seen where, again, on the franchisor side, company culture, that's something that, like with Buzz, there's an immense diversity within the teams. So I think that also makes it much more comfortable for the potential franchise owner. They're coming in and they're like, listen, I'm not just being led astray, or I'm not just, essentially a team of people that look nothing like me trying to tell me this is what you do for, community engagement, and this is what you do for this, without taking into account what could be different about our experiences, right?
Yeah, what community? Yeah.
A lot that is certainly helpful, but then I do get the question asked by candidates on occasion: do you have people that look like me or in my situation, in life, or that are the same as my culture or religion or anything like that? Because, the thing about it is some cultures or some religions, they have standards that they have to abide by or things that they have to do. Like, for example, for some Jewish religions or even like Seventh-day Adventist, there are certain periods of the day onto the next that they're not permitted to receive income or have a, profit, essentially. So that means as a business owner, they might not be able to operate during those periods. So for example, Seventh-day Adventist, Saturday, no, it's shut down. I cannot have a business that's operating. I can't do anything like that. If you're a business that a Saturday is a primary day of operation, or what most people work on, are you going to adhere to the fact that this is something important to this person? Or are you not going to be respectful of that? Because business is business, and that's that. You have to think about those things on both ends. Again, as a franchise business owner, are you going to respect certain things that I cannot do? Just like you're going to expect me to respect things that are part of your system. And so I think that's something that I've just seen really transition for the better. I'm having conversations with people from my background or my experience, or I'm hearing the same story. My parents wanted to do it and then they couldn't. And, so I want to be the first to, and it's a pride, and it's a moment of pride for them. And just overall, just for myself, again, circling back to like, I've had those experiences where I felt lesser than, or I suffered from imposter syndrome. I was like, I shouldn't be here. I'm not in the same realm as these people. Why? Like now I look at it and I go, what was that about? What was different? Nothing. I'm educated, self-educated. I'm a good person. I'm adhering to the rules. I'm doing what I need to. I'm a hard worker. What makes anybody any different? And I think that also, my experience, again, it translates into who I'm working with or who I'm talking to, and making them feel much more comfortable as they go through the journey. And then being part of a franchise that has those people, across all of our brands, we have astronomically successful franchise owners. In fact, for Pool Scouts, we have, an owner that would be part of, the diversity group that just was, franchisee of the year and received an IFA award, so these are things that matter. Representation matters. That's what I've seen the biggest growth in, and really the biggest change. And for me, it's notable, right? Because again, I'm a Latina and I'm proud of it. And, I want to be able to see more of that. And I'm sure, you can relate to that as well, that it would have made a big difference if you had come to the Buzz offices and not felt comfortable and not felt like you were being treated well because of something that you have no control over, you know? It makes a very big difference.
And I've definitely, I'm being biracial. I have been there, done that. Growing up, with certain groups, I was one way, and other groups, I was the other way. And going to a predominantly white liberal arts college, Wheaton College, shout out, outside of Chicago. I was very different than the standard student athlete, and getting into franchising. Initially, it was no different, but I see the types of things that you're talking about, and I want to represent myself and represent my community that way as well. And I love seeing young people. I love seeing people of color. I love seeing women come into the space and be successful. It's so cool. Yeah. How would you educate somebody who might be in a minority group, or might be outside of the space, in maybe they're younger, maybe they don't quite have enough money yet, but they want to become the type of person that could be successful, and not just as a franchise owner. Even in what you do currently on the development side, and building these magnificent brands, help people achieve their dreams. How would you coach somebody up that might be kind of on the outside looking in?
If it's a matter of financial means, thankfully, there are so many different programs available these days that can really assist people. So whatever their circumstance or background, whether it's helping them, there's like scholarship opportunities. For example, for Latina Americans, there are actually organizations that can help people to be able to either get to a point where they're financially stable enough, or provide them with the funding that they need. They look more so at what you're looking to invest in, what you need, and they'll act kind of like an angel investor, really. Like that, there's just so many more programs available for minority groups and POCs and women especially. So there's so many opportunities. I would say do your research, see what you could qualify for, what could be available to you. And if it's a matter of actually having to just work for it or work towards it, then get somebody that can financially assist you. Banks have financial advisors and people that can guide you. Hey, your credit's here. You're going to want to loan this much. Let's work on getting it there. So that's one component, right? Just the financial means for it. But then outside of that, nobody has to have the experience on owning a business. We don't need someone coming into a system that's, I was a business owner for 20 plus years, or I have multiple businesses under my wing. That's not necessary. Self-educate, go online, watch videos, listen to podcasts, take into account people that are part of the industry you're trying to get into or the business you want to own. Listen to the advice that they have to give, and feed off of people's experiences. My dad always said, the wise is the man who learned off of someone else's mistakes, not making their own. And so take into account what people have done. Especially now more than ever, goodness gracious, you've got YouTube, podcasts, books, there's documentaries on, business. There's so many things available. Just take the time, even if it's 30 minutes a day that you're washing the dishes, listen to something. You're taking a quick drive, you're on, whatever the case may be, find that time to learn about what you want to get into, so you just feel more confident, because the right franchisor is going to teach you what you need to know for that business. That's not what you need. It's just finding the confidence or feeling a little better about it. And frankly speaking, for somebody that wants to get into what I do, or even what you do, it's the same thing. You were not a consultant before this. You were
No, I
a
was not.
business owner. So you're taking your own knowledge of what they're trying to get into to share and talk to them about. For me, I'm taking what I've seen, again, other people's, highs and lows, their successes or their downfalls, to share that information, to be able to kind of get into that with, this person and hopefully help them feel a lot more secure about what they're going to invest in. And even as a person in the development side of it, I've seen so many more women come into this, so many, people of color, so many more cultures, that it's a lot of fun. And I say the same thing. Listen, I know that imposter syndrome can be a thing, and I know we can experience that, but you stand tall, and this is coming from a shorty. You stand tall, you walk in there, you have that conversation, you are the one with the information. Don't forget that. They don't have that. So you're the one that's helping somebody else out. Those things, it'll make a difference in how you present yourself and represent the business as well. So I think those are, if I was going to give any kind of advice, it would just be that. It would just be really look for the resources that you have available to you, read up on what it is that you want to accomplish and do, and then look at the community that's going to surround you and who looks like you and what's out there, because I guarantee now more than ever you're going to find that.
Oh, I love it. And that speaks into the heart of what the show is all about and why I wanted to start this show, because I truly believe it's all about progress over perfection. I want to level up at least 1% every single day and do my best to continue to stack bricks. And if my goal is to get better, then I have the resources that are around me right now to better myself, to improve. And if I can do that long enough and to get into better rooms with people who are more experienced, that are smarter, then the sky's the limit. And I love that you said it. I love just the narrative that you're building.
Thank you.
What makes the difference between successful franchise development and unsuccessful franchise development? Where does it work, and then where does it get broken? Just the process of guiding somebody through buying and investing in a franchise.
Where it works is when you remove yourself from the outcome and you focus on the fact that you're presenting somebody with information. It's up to them how they take it. That's a big thing. I think when people do try to sell, they're trying to, convince somebody to do something. Ultimately, that comes across, people feel that.
Sure.
And they'll feel that pressure. They'll feel that, kind of like, wait a minute, this isn't for me. And I'm not trying to sell somebody a timeshare. I'm trying to sell them the opportunity to build what they're hoping to accomplish, whether it is financial dominance, hey, I'm taking care of what my potential is for my income, whether it's lifestyle opportunity. I'm sick and tired of working for someone else and acquiescing to their demands, their hours. I got to work overtime if they say so. No, I'm home when I want, and I'm figuring, out my lifestyle and my opportunities. Building a retirement plan, whatever the case may be. That's what's important. Not even the business I'm representing, what it's going to do for them, how it's going to help them accomplish that. There's been times where I've worked with somebody and they were a delight, love them, great person to work with, but you get a sense, this isn't for you. You're trying to have a passive income, and you're trying to, be like half the year in like Bali or something. And that's not going to be possible. And so
that's not this. Yeah.
Your dream is not this reality. And so therefore this won't be a good match, because all it's going to do is it's like dating. You meet somebody and you really want it to work. You see the red flags, but you're just, oh man, but I don't care. They're so great. They're this, that, the other. Ultimately, it's not going to end well. Even if you make it to the altar, walk down it, you're on the other side of it, divorce is imminent because you're going in with false hope and expectation. Taking myself out of the outcome and really just focusing on how this is going to get them to whatever goal they've got, and if whether or not it's going to get them there is a huge, huge piece of this. And I think, unfortunately, for me, that hasn't always been the case. I had to learn the hard way, especially transitioning into this. That's the frame of mind I should be going in with. And that's where I've seen others, not do well as well when they're starting to put that pressure on themselves or taking it personally, like I said earlier. So I would say but that goes hand in hand with where you also get success. When you just start to say, listen, I know we're dating. I'm just here to, get to know you. Let's have coffee. Maybe then let's take it to dinner. Eventually get to know my friends, aka the franchise owners, then meet the family during our meet the team day, and let's take it through this process at the pace that you set. Because again, I've got the info. When do you want it? Let's go through this process together. Let's walk through this, and at some point it's going to be a move forward or it's going to be a move on. And but yeah, kind of just reassuring them either one of those options is okay. It's just, obviously I'm biased. I want it to move on, but I want us to move forward, excuse me. But it's not always going to be the case. And I think too, the relationship with you, as me, the franchise development team, you, the consultant, that is just as important, if not as crucial, to how well this could all go, because they've got some ideas that aren't matching with what our business is going to be like. I've got to communicate that with you, and let you know, listen, I don't know if that's something for you to talk to them about. Maybe I'm assessing this the wrong way, but this is for me is a little yellow flag going up. Don't know that it's a stopper, but definitely a concern, and vice versa. If you are hearing things or maybe misinterpretations, I've got to know these things so I can make sure that I'm correcting what needs to be corrected, or confirming that that is in fact the case. So that we're also, as not wasting each other's time, or more importantly, that candidate's time in this process. I think that's as important as anything else. And I see too many people that don't put enough nourishment into the relationships. A consultant that is taking the time to present this person and making sure that they are having that conversation, or, as we like to call it, the frickin' frack of it all, really, that's also a big mistake I see across the board too.
No, those are really good answers. I find the best value that I can add to somebody's journey is helping them to truly assess the vision that they have and the dream that they want to build, because I see too many people change their identity to match the brand that they choose, when to me it's important to understand that it's not about the widget, it's about what the widget can do to help you to build your dreams and build into your purpose. And the franchise system in and of itself is a tool. It's a business that you have to work and you have to build it. It's going to take a lot of effort. And so if you don't know your why at the end, and if the why isn't defined enough to remain pure when it starts getting hit, then at the end of the day, you're going to get disgruntled. You're going to wish you'd never made this decision. And it's in our seats, it's so easy to manipulate people if we don't have the right spirit. But then you look back and, gosh, I know for me, I don't want to lead people astray just based on my experience in franchising and what I've seen happen to individuals. I want to make sure that everything that I do, everything that I put out, I mean, even this content is a way to open up that curtain, because I've been able to get into this room with amazing people like yourself and the team at Buzz, Kevin Wilson, and all these other great consultants and development people. We just have an amazing opportunity to help people. So I feel all of that. What are some key questions that somebody should be ready to ask whenever they're assessing a franchise? So whenever they first start talking to you, because I believe, and I'm a podcast host and a consultant, so I take pride in the questions that I ask. But I believe that you can tell a person's caliber based on the level of questions that they ask. So from your side, when you first meet somebody, what are things that you like to hear, like to be able to gauge their mindset? What questions are they asking you when you know that, okay, this person's ready?
So, I mean, obviously everybody always wants to come in and immediately, how much am I going to make? And what am I going to, what are we talking about financially here? They focus, right, so strongly on that. And it's such a difficult conversation, obviously, because there's things I'm permitted to talk about and things I'm not. But so I never really think of so much about the financial questions as I do, for example, when somebody starts asking me, what kind of management works well in this business, whether it's because they're going to be owner operator or they're looking to bring on a manager, what is day-to-day life going to be like? What are other franchise owners doing, to really motivate their teams or keep them inspired, to work? Things like that tell me they're really thinking about their life in this. Like, hey, how do I said that I wanted to, be a good leader, and I want to, have a team that loves to work with. But now they're actually asking me questions that makes me believe that is in fact the case. They're caring about that. I mean, and I had a person one time say, what are other franchise owners doing to really motivate their teams or keep them up? Like, are they doing bonuses or competitive programs or things like that, incentivize them, but genuinely give back to them? And I thought, that's a really good question, because now it shows me that you're thinking, how do I keep them happy? Because guess what? At the end of the day, your business, especially within certain service-based businesses, your day-to-day life is extremely dependent on the team that you bring on board and how happy you are keeping them. And I, that as well. Like, imagine if you're under your brand of Mosquito Joe's, if you had a team that just really was just lagging, they weren't doing their jobs, they weren't getting to appointments on time, they're showing up at the office with an attitude or just really humbug. Well, that's going to be a bummer all around for your business, the way your business operates, but also the energy in the room. For example, Home Clean Heroes, I say, man, do you know how hard the work that those folks are putting in? It's one of the reasons we elevate their title and don't call them maids. We call them technicians, because we're like, they're a cleaning technician. They're a cleaning specialist. What they're doing is hard work, harder than even the business owner. Same for pool scouts. These people are out in the sun a lot of the times, working extremely hard for you and your business. A swim instructor, they're in the water for how many hours, and working with children. You have kids, they're so unpredictable. Like, there's so much that could happen there.
Around that water. Whew.
Yeah. You have to have teams that you motivate and keep happy. So when I get asked questions about that, hey, and is there an incentive, and could I offer bonuses, and does the business allow me to do this or that? I love to hear it, because it means they're already thinking about, how do I support my team well to keep them happy so that I have a business that operates well? So, you know what I mean? They're thinking here, how do I make that bigger picture happen? And then also community-based questions. We are very mission-based organizations overall. Every single one of our brands works with an organization or foundation for a greater purpose. When they are thinking, hey, could I sponsor something? Could I do this? Could I do that? How do I build relationships with my community? That's beautiful, because here they are thinking about ways to expand outside of just the norm. They're not thinking, I'm clocking in and I'm clocking out, and so is my team, and so is everyone else. They're really thinking about better opportunities for growth, but more importantly, something that can make them feel good at the end of the day about their business and ways that they can engage. So I think those are wonderful questions. I mean, people are going to ask the financial aspect of it, or what kind of programs do you work with, and what do you provide me with, and things like that, surely. But I love when I hear about when they are beginning to think about actual life in the business, not just what we, the franchisor, can do and what they, the franchise owner, can get, but how they can make sure that they're doing well. That's, for me, that's when I start to go, all right, here we are. You know what I mean?
This is the one.
They're thinking big picture, and I think they're thinking the right things.
I love that. Do you find that because of the different brands, so you've got British Swim School, Pool Scouts, Home Clean Heroes, and Wonderly, do you find that there's a different avatar or a different persona for each brand, or can like one person that is an ideal franchisee for Buzz could kind of fall into any one, or are they separate in the sense of how they operate? It might work better for a different type of franchise owner.
There is no cookie cutter version of who's going to be the perfect franchise owner for any of our brands. We have such an assortment of unique individuals, backgrounds, personalities, cultures, that overall, that part of it doesn't come into play. In fact, I've had many times where I've been presented with a candidate and the consultant has said, I've been thinking about presenting this brand, but I kind of think they might also go well for this brand. What do you think? And I say, send them over for both. Let them figure it out. Let them figure out what might be the better fit for them. Because at the end of the day, we as a franchisor are going to stand by doing our job. And that is providing them with a proven system that works, providing them with a model that has experience and a team that's there to provide them with the best support possible. I mean, we have shared services across all of our brands. So whether somebody is with British Swim School or they're with Pool Scouts, they are still going to receive full in-house marketing, operational support teams, analytical programs and systems overall that really help them to grow and to check the boxes on what they need for their business. Ultimately, what it's going to come down to is desire and gumption. Do you have a genuine desire to accomplish whatever that goal is and the gumption to actually go out there and do it? Because business ownership isn't for everybody. And it's not the kind of thing that everybody, everybody has the actual wherewithal to accomplish. I've seen people that I thought, oh my goodness, they're going to blow it out of the park. Like they're going to just do an amazing job. And I don't know what happened. And I'm saying this even in my personal experiences where I've said like, oh, this is going to be great. And then they got into it and then they realized what really goes into the business. Their vision was one thing and their actual actions were another. And so that's not all right. Your business isn't going to succeed that way. Same thing in franchising. You have to have that real strong desire and encouragement, whether it's from your personal life or, the professional realm. You have to have that in you in order to be able to make something happen. That's what we look for. People, as we say, is also a big thing.
Yeah.
You're overseeing people. We've all had a bad boss, right? Like that's just, if you've worked long enough, everyone has had a bad boss. Do not be that boss. You know what you didn't like. Be a better person as a leader and as a business owner. So that's going to be key. They're all community-based businesses that we work with. So whether you're dealing with parents who are freaking out because their baby's taking their first swim lesson, or you have somebody that, they spent an astronomical amount of money installing a pool. And now they're like, listen, like, please don't break anything. Like, please take care of this when you guys come to repair. They're just really paranoid. Or in the case of residential cleaning, you're walking into somebody's home, the most personal space that we can have.
Yeah.
Those things, you have to be a people person to make all of those scenarios and people feel comfortable and feel reassured with you coming in and saying, listen, we're going to do the job in your household, or we're going to take care of your kid, or whatever the case may be, the same way that I would want my child or household to be taken care of. Those things matter. They make a difference. And so that's what I think is probably the most key out of anything. Gumption, genuine desire to make it happen, and be a people person. That's what we really look for. That's what we want. Everything else, it's teachable and trainable. You don't have any experience in marketing, don't worry about it. That's what our team's here for. You've never cleaned a pool, don't worry about it. We have franchise owners that don't even know how to swim, and they're a British Swim School business owner.
Really?
So yeah, because they recognize the genuine value of it. Yeah. So it can happen any which way. It can happen. It's possible You just have to want it enough.
Got it. Oh, I love that answer. Okay, as we wrap this up, here's my last question for
Yeah.
you. What's next? What's next for you? What are you trying to build right now? What are you excited about as, first quarter of 2024 is over? What's on your mind on the personal side that you're really you're pushing?
On a personal level, it technically leans into the professional, but I'm actively working on my CFE right now. So I'm
Let's
pushing
go.
hard. I'm pushing
Yeah.
hard on that. And you know what? I want to have a family. I want to develop a family. And now more than ever, I'm in a wonderful place and space, professionally speaking. I have a great organization that really is supportive of anything and everything we want to do. And so I think this is the best time, if any, to try to really make some of those things happen. So I'm working on development in every way. In every way possible. And then I have a personal goal for the year of, I always read about like anywhere between 75 to 100 books a year. But this year I said, we're going to stick to just like 50 and just try to make it, get through that. And I'm already ahead of the mark. So I can take it a little easy now for the rest of the year on some of that.
Awesome.
So yeah,
50, a week. One a week, take a couple weeks off, you're good. If you don't take a couple weeks off, you're ahead of the game. There you go.
Exactly right. So that you'll be seeing a lot more from me on that level, because I definitely want to start sharing more about the books I've been reading and stuff.
Oh, please do. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
What about
I love
you?
oh my gosh.
I had to throw it back.
Man. Yeah, you did. You're not supposed to do that. This is my show.
I know.
Wow.
But I'm the guest, so.
Yeah. No, you know what? That's a great question. I want to see a lot of clarity in what I'm doing. I find myself, I am stacking a lot of bricks right now. I'm building the foundation for my family. I got my oldest son is about to be done with kindergarten. My middle son is getting ready to go to preschool next year, and my daughter's turning 2. And so the family, they're starting to get into activities, and it's foundation season. And for, being a franchise consultant, I started back in October of 2023. So I'm still, it's in my first year, and building out a pipeline and making a lot of content, because I don't have the money to buy a bunch of leads. I have to do this off of organic reach and just creating as much value as I can. And then on the business side, we took a big leap by adding a second brand this last fall. And it's chaotic. It's a lot whenever you start a brand new business, and especially when you have a current business that you're still operating. And so to have clarity in all of the different areas, like 2023 was a big exponential growth year. 2024 is, all right, let's stable this ship. Let's keep stacking these bricks. And I'm starting to see progress on multiple fronts. It's never as fast as I want it to be, but it's coming. It's coming. And I just got to stay diligent and disciplined and keep going after it, one foot after the other. So that's me. You weren't supposed to ask me that, but
well, let me tell you. No, I have to ask. It's not just about me. This is what I do. I have to find out about you too. No.
Come on.
I will tell you. I've been watching your episodes. I've been seeing the content that you're posting, and I think you are well on your way to accomplishing those goals and more, because you've been doing a phenomenal job with it.
Man, well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. That means a lot.
Absolutely.
It really does. It's the small wins. There's so many. Anytime you try to step out and do something big and put yourself out there, it's vulnerable. Yes, there's a lot of imposter syndrome, but you get punched in the gut, you get kicked in the teeth. When you experience a lot of L's, and you will, so when you experience, you have to start strategically looking for, all right, where is the W in here? Where is it? Because as soon as I can find it, now let me break it back down of why that was a W, how that happened. Maybe it was just random. Okay, but what came into place so I can try to recreate it? That's everything to me right now. And I'm finally starting to, like, the randomness is starting to pull itself together. And just being in building this platform, I get to talk to people like you and so many other amazing folks that I'm loving it right now. It's taking a long time to build, but it's a lot of fun. So I appreciate you for coming on. You added so
Well,
much
thank
value
you. Thank you for
to
having
the
me.
audience. And yes, if you like the episode, reach out to Rita. She's on LinkedIn. But if you
Yeah.
want to know any more about Bus Franchise Brands, holler at me. I'll get you connected to the team. Until next time, stay
Yeah.
humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise.
Yeah, thank you. And listen, I look forward to working with anybody you send my way because I know they're in good hands.
Let's go. Yes, ma'am.
All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Hey, if this episode added any value to your life at all, please like it, share it, give me a 5-star review. It's the only way that this show is going to gain traction and help more people achieve their dreams. If you're ready to start your franchise journey, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's set up a time to talk. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Peace.